Howdy! Welcome to the Whiskey Butler. I am your host, Wesley Butler, here to serve you a little whiskey wisdom. Guess what? I'm on vacation again, so we got whiskey on the road. We're here in Denver, Colorado at the Laws Whiskey House, sitting here with my new friend, Casey.
Hello, hello.
Who has, she's been enabling me, as you can see here. She's given me 6 shots of some great whiskey here, but I was picking Casey's brain, and I said, it'd be really nice if you could tell my viewers out there a little bit about the rye whiskey they make here at Laws, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the rye whiskey here at Laws. They have multiple levels of rye whiskey. We got the 6-year bonded rye whiskey here. We got a cask strength rye here. They also make they call it the batch?
We call it the batch,
They call it the batch. They have the batch rye here. Any other rye you guys have here?
Those are the 3 core ones right now. Yep, the batch, the bonded,
But
and
you
the
have
cask.
like an experimental
Oh,
rye,
yes,
right?
we do have an experimental rye as well. That was actually finished in a used Colorado malt whiskey barrel as opposed to a new barrel.
All right.
So fun stuff here all the time.
A lot of fun stuff here, All right, so we're going to talk about the rye whiskey here. So if everybody recalls back to earlier episodes, rye whiskey means that rye is the dominant grain, just has to be more than 51%. Are we talking 100% rye?
We are talking 100% rye, so we have a very unique rye, because a lot of those ryes you see on the market will sit right at that 51, 60%.
Right, totally.
Put a little bit of corn in it to sweeten it up, and then a little bit of that malted barley, but we actually make 100% rye, so it's 50% raw rye, 50% malted rye. So very interesting. Yeah, you still need that malted grain for that to convert those starches to fermentable sugars in the cooking process.
Okay.
So that's why you see a lot of whiskeys have that malted barley, right? A lot of times that malted barley is more of a conversion grain than a flavor grain.
Okay.
But you can actually malt any grain. It just takes more of that grain for that conversion.
Okay.
So that's what we found with that 50% malted grain and 50% raw. We're able to create this 100% rye whiskey that's super, super interesting.
Who needs a tour? It's shut down, by the way, because they're under construction. Who needs a tour when you got Casey right here?
That is very true.
So we're going to taste the rye. It's 6 years, right?
6 years, yes. This is our 6-year bonded rye.
6-year bottled and bond. That's the 1897 bottled and bond, 1 distiller, 1 harvest season, bonded warehouse, at least 4 years. We added an extra 2 for this, 100 proof. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I love that you pointed out that the Bottled and Bond Act was passed in 1897 too, because I always like to point out that that was a full 6 years before the Food and Drug Act was passed.
It was.
So before America decided to regulate anything, they regulated our whiskey, which is super, super important.
But the Food and Drug Act also, there was some whiskey shenanigans going on with the Food and Drug Act because people weren't always labeling their whiskey properly. So it was like, let's slap some appropriate labels on these things. Shout out to Colonel E.H. Taylor, who helped get the whole Bottled and Bond Act going in Kentucky. But anyway, so I like this rye. Usually rye isn't sweet, but I can actually taste a little sweetness in this rye.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like 100 proof. I mean, I like stronger whiskeys, and this being 100 proof is good, but I actually can taste a little sweetness in this rye.
Yeah, and it's partly from a lot of that malted rye. That malt adds a little bit of a sweetness, but it's also from where we get our grains, which we get our grains from Colorado. I mean, all of our grains are Colorado grown. We're super proud of that. We are 100% Colorado distillery.
Made in Colorado.
Made in Colorado, aged in Colorado. But we get all of our predominant grains are wheat, rye, and barley from the Cody family down in Alamosa, Colorado, the San Luis Valley. They are a 5th generational farming family. They were the first farm to ever provide barley to Coors back in the day, so they've been around a long, long time. They grow all our wheat, rye, barley. They also malt all our grains, but what's really cool about them is that San Luis Valley of Colorado is just a very unique area. It has a very unique terroir, which you hear in the wine world a lot. I did not, but I can tell you that means basically of the earth, right?
Okay.
And the wine world has known the secrets of this. Like they know that the earth, the soil affects the flavor of the grape. And we now know that it has a lot of importance in how the flavor of the grain is affected as well.
So I wonder if there's some, what other grains do they grow there? So there's a there's a company in Virginia, Catoctin Creek, and they do 100% rye whiskeys, and they get their rye grains from 3 different places, and one of the places that grows their grain is next to a tobacco farm. So you get a lot of tobacco flavor. So I'm curious if we know sort of what other grains they might grow that might contribute to the flavor of the rye.
That's a great question. They actually grow our wheat and our barley as well, but our rye field is actually butt up against another farm that grows serrano peppers.
Really?
Yes, and our farmers can speak very eloquently about how even that close proximity to the serrano pepper farm affects the flavor of our rye as well.
I don't taste any serrano peppers in here, but I do like a good serrano pepper.
Sometimes it really hits me in the cask. That's where I feel it the most, or even just a little drop of water. I kind of get some of that serrano pepper. Power of suggestion.
I might have to have a cask strength right here. Let's see if we can taste some of the serrano pepper in this cask strength. Now, what's the proof on the cask strength rye?
The cask strength is sitting at 60.2 right now, so a good kick. But it will surprise you with how smooth it is for such a high proof spirit, for sure.
Okay.
This
Still
is
6 years?
This one I think is right at, I think it's about four and a half years.
This is technically bonded.
It's technically bonded because it's a
labeled as
single
bonded.
barrel, but yes,
Okay.
we did not label it as bonded.
Okay. You can taste the peppers in this.
See, I told you.
You can definitely taste the peppers in this. I am not lying. Show up in Denver, get the cask strength rye. You can taste the peppers in it. I'm trying to think of what else I can taste in there. I feel like I taste some wacky tobacco. No, I'm just kidding. Not wacky tobacco. Just regular tobacco.
I mean, we are in Denver,
we are in Denver. You know, I mean, you are in Denver. You probably walk out of this building and hit some. Didn't we pass it? We passed a. What is it? A dispensary. That's what they call them. Sorry.
Yes. I mean, there's quite a few grow houses. They don't call this the Green Mile for nothing.
They call it the Green Mile?
They do, yes.
Shout out to Tom Hanks. Rest in peace, Michael Clark Duncan. But I'm just saying, there was a good movie. It was a good movie. Who here doesn't like the Green Mile, right?
No.
Come on.
Everybody likes the Green Mile. Our rye does something kind of unique, I think, as well. Just people tend to think rye is spicy, right? We get that. No, everybody says like that's a spicy rye. Yes.
Studio audience raises their hand on the spot for the rice. For the spicy rye.
There is, when you're drinking, when you're evaluating whiskey, you talk a lot about your smell and your taste. And there's actually another nerve in your body that is triggered by whiskey drinking that has nothing to do with smell or taste.
Really?
Yes, and it's called your trigeminal nerve. It's right here, and it really just triggers a feeling. There's 3 points in your face that trigger this feeling.
Man, y'all didn't know y'all was gonna get a science experiment on this episode, did you? Okay, trigeminal.
Trigeminal. But when you drink whiskey, it specifically emits a feeling, and it's either heating or cooling. So when you drink whiskey and you get that heat, but you can't pinpoint that descriptive flavor, it's not a flavor. It's truly just your trigeminal nerve telling you heat. I know that wheat, bourbon, because of the wheat in it, wheat gives me that heat. It hits my trigeminal nerve
wheat
right
bourbon?
there. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yes. I'll pour you one of just our 100% wheat, and
I just
you
had
tell me.
100% wheat.
But
One of these.
the rye
empty ones.
hits me different. Where that wheat hits me up here and gives me that heat, the rye hits me down here and gives me more of a cooling feeling, which then leads me to like spearmint or eucalyptus. I get like
yes, eucalyptus. I could say eucalyptus for this cask strength rye. Yeah.
Yeah, so I get a lot of like more refreshing, kind of like mouthwash spearmint taste, minty taste over that spice.
Okay.
I'm getting more of a mint spice than like that hot spice that you traditionally get from a rye.
This is definitely not a hot spice like I've had from other cask strength ryes. I could see where the eucalyptus could come in.
Yes.
Trigeminal. There you go. Look that up when you get home.
Word of the day.
Google it. All right. Well, we have plenty more spirits here to drink, but I don't want to take up too much of your time today. I want to thank Casey for joining the episode and dropping some knowledge on us. We like to feed your minds and your palates here on the Whiskey Butler. But catch us the next time. Be sure you like, share, subscribe with your friends. Click the bell when you subscribe. We are in Denver all weekend, so this is probably not the last episode that's going to come from Denver, Colorado. But thanks for watching the Whiskey Butler, and I'm out.